All right, welcome back to another episode of the Boardroom. Today with me, I have Keith. It's Gillespie. Is that the right way to pronounce it?
Yeah, that is. You nailed it
Yes.
first try. Good work.
There we go. And well, I'm used to getting my names pronounced wrong. It's McGeady. Everybody says McGreedy. They put an R in it, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got good at pronouncing other people's last names.
Good work.
So
Thanks for
Keith
having me, man.
from REI Automated. You want to just take just a few seconds? Doesn't have to be long. Just kind of give me a little 30,000 foot view of your background and what you're doing now.
Do you want the one sentence version or the couple minute story version?
We can take the couple-minute story. I'm all right with that.
All right, cool. So it started 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Now I'm active duty in the Marines. It's 2015. I came back home from overseas, tried to get into my house. Door wouldn't open because my wife had that, those little flippy doodad things that it's metal and it hooks onto this thing. And you try to
Oh,
open
yeah.
the door and it only opens like 3 inches. Well, I
Yep.
was like, what the heck? Like, why does my wife have this on? She knows that I'm coming home today. And so she opens the door, she peeks through the crack. She goes, close your eyes. And I'm like, dude, I haven't seen you in forever. Give me a hug, give me a kiss. I don't want to play games right now. And she's like, no, I need you to close your eyes. So I close my eyes and I drop my sea bags. I step into the house and she goes, okay, now hold your hands up. Just look up and hold your hands up. And so I go like this and she places something in my hands and I start to feel it and it's hard and it's cylindrical. And I just got back home from overseas and it kind of felt like a pipe bomb. And so I immediately freeze. I don't know why I thought my wife would give me a pipe bomb, but honestly, if you were to watch the YouTube video, this is up on YouTube, you'll actually see me stop and freeze. And I go, it's not going to explode, is it? And she goes, I don't think so. So I start to feel around a little bit more and I can't figure out what it is. So she lets me fonder for about 5 more seconds. She says, open your eyes. I look down and I'm holding a pink baby bottle with a positive pregnancy test in it.
That's awesome.
And then I look at my wife and she's pregnant, right? So she wanted to wait till I got home to tell me in person. She kept it a secret the whole time I was gone. And so I was there for the birth of our daughter. I left the very next month and went back overseas again. Came back and same exact story. She broke the news a little bit differently, but she was pregnant while I was gone. She surprised me. That video is also up on YouTube. Surprise your
That's
dad number
awesome.
two. And and so there you can actually see in the video, I actually fell down to my knees when I realized that we're pregnant a second time. And you can actually see three very clear emotions. The first one, of course, is shock of like I wasn't expecting to come home and us be pregnant again.
Yeah.
The second emotion was I was distraught. Like this is the second time I've screwed up, the second time that I've been overseas and missed your pregnancy. And then the third was I'm super happy because our first kid was amazing and now I'm excited to have a second one. And so for the next couple of years, I continued to go overseas. I went overseas 13 times over an 8 year period of time. And so for the next several years, I would come home and my wife had to reintroduce me to my children because they didn't know who I was, which would break any man emotionally just on a normal basis. But it particularly meant a lot to me because I'm an only child and my dad died when I was 8 years old. So I was raised without a father. And I'm looking at my children being raised without a father, saying, like, man, I'm doing the same exact thing to them, except I don't
Yeah.
have the excuse of being dead. I'm alive and I'm well and I'm choosing to live this way. The cool thing is I can choose to do something different. So that's how I got started in real estate. And in 16, we started a business. I read, the Purple Bible, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. Got into got in real estate, joined Fortune Builders and Rich Dad Coaching and John Martinez Sales and Negotiation Training, which you may be familiar with. And I just have continued to buy into different programs and mentorships and apprenticeships and such. And for the first about 4.5 years, Chris, I really sucked. I was just finding my feet floundering. The Marine Corps is not a 9 to 5 where you can just punch in and punch out as a lifestyle, very much like, you know, working at the fire department. It's very much a lifestyle. You're gone constantly. You have extra duties placed on you. You were bringing work home with you. And so I really only had about an hour or two per day to put into my real estate investing business.
Okay.
And so I was building systems and processes, and eventually it turned into software that in 2020, we were crushing it, right? 4.5 years later, I made about $300,000 in real estate nets. That was take home. And I'm 25 years old at the time. And that was in addition to my Marine Corps income, in addition to my wife's income. So I'm like, dude, we're rolling in dough. Like it's
Yeah,
time to
right.
get out. So I completed my 8th year active duty, and I got out. I was able to come home back to my family on my own terms. Now I work from home. I hang out. I'm coaching my son's little league. My daughter just got her black belt test in martial arts. Like I'm here. I'm present with my wife and with my kids. So 2020 is when we really started REI Automated because my mentor came to me and he's like, dude, Keith, you've got something special here. It's really working for you. You're kind of being a jerk holding this so close to your chest. Like, why are you not sharing
Yeah.
this with other people? So it took us the majority of 2020 to build that out, actually. We launched in October and it was originally just a CRM, and then it became education, and then it became coaching. But now that's what we do. We help real estate investors build and scale a profitable real estate investing business by implementing 3 pillars. Pillar number 1 is education. Pillar number 2 is software, and pillar number 3 is support and coaching. And so at this point in time, we've been in business for just over 5 years. We've helped more than 570 people. More than 400 of them have been with us for their first deal ever,
Awesome.
which is really meaningful and impactful. And I like living a life on purpose, and so this definitely helps us achieve that and make a bigger impact.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad I picked the couple minute version.
Yeah.
And I,
Thanks.
I would have to lead by saying thank you for your service for sure.
Thank you for yours, man.
And secondly, some might say having a girl might have been more dangerous than the pipe bomb that you thought it was. So let's dig into this a little bit because I've been on your website recently too because I'm trying to prepare it for the podcast, but I want to dig too
Yeah.
deeply because I want to learn about it.
Yeah.
The word automated is amazing to me because and this is a serious comment from my kids. They say I'm going to be 47 this year, and they
Yeah.
say that I'm a 47-year-old living in an 80-year-old mind because
Yeah.
I still think foolishly that the phone is meant for phone calls, but my daughter's like, no, 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 that's for emergencies only. Right. So when it comes to
Boy.
automation, I'm kind of new to it. The whole AI world, I'm
Yeah.
just tapping the surface on that. So
Yeah.
what is it that REI Automated is specifically for? Like, what is somebody coming to you for in the beginning?
So in the beginning, it's typically going to be the systems. I actually asked this question on my podcast. I bring our clients in and I love asking them 2 questions. Number 1, why do you originally come to me? And then number 2, why did you stay with me? Because we have some of our original clients back in 2020. And almost all of our clients from 2021. Attrition, like how many people fall off, is very, very small. It's single digits. Actually, we keep the majority of our clients. And so most people come for the system, for the automation, for the organization. They want to become more efficient. They want to become more effective. And that automation is really like sexy to them, right? It's really enticing. They're like, wow, there's this elusive thing that I've been chasing that I really want, but I don't know how to do it, nor do I have the time in order to devote to it. So that's why people originally come to us. But then they end up staying actually because of the community, because of the support. There's so many things, like many, many layers deep rather than just the surface layer, which is like a lead measure rather than a lag measure. The lead measure is let's get efficient, let's get organized, let's get automated. But what's that going to turn into? The lag measure is going to be making more money. But really, making more money is the lead measure to making more impact. And making more impact is ultimately the lead measure for the emotion that we're really chasing in life when we go several layers deep. Just to state it really easily, REI Automated, we have a CRM, we have a lead generation software, we have a scripting software, we have a deal analysis software, we have a project management software, we have a lending software. I mean, everything is all like bundled into one place. We call it deal base.
Okay.
And we call it deal base because it's home base for deals to be made. And, and you really don't need to do anything outside of that. Like literally, we provide everything. People are constantly like pulling from here and here and here, and they're trying to like duct tape this version together when really that's completely unnecessary. And it's very problematic because integrations are breaking or they're not actually properly built out.
Yeah.
So it's just massive loss of functionality and efficiencies. We bring everything all together. We keep things organized. Everything that can and should be automated, because I think that there's still things that shouldn't be automated. But
Correct.
everything that can and should be automated is automated. And so we have 389 automations just built into our CRM. So all of the manual, mundane minutia, like the repetitive tasks that you and I, as a typically the owner of the business is more of a visionary than they are an integrator. So we kind of get stuck in and bored in the daily grind of things, and we want to be like the ideas man.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's automate all the things that you're dropping the ball on, but they still those are the things that frankly, that's the engine that runs the business. And if we're not holding people accountable, if we're not managing our finances, if we're not making sure that things are moving forward in a project, the business is going to kind of fall apart. And so we've automated those things. And again, it's my job to create efficiencies in your life that shorten the time frame for you to do a deal so that you can make more money with less time and
As you're explaining that, I love that because if I if I remind myself of where we started, it was trying to piecemeal all those things together, and I've been on that black hole before. Like
yeah.
the automations are a necessity in my life because I won't keep up with it. And I remember fighting with, I mean, simple things like Excel spreadsheets or Podio is how we started. Or,
Yeah.
when you're kind of you're stair stepping from paper to spreadsheets to your first CRM to your second CRM. If you move, I think I've had like
Yeah.
9 or 10 CRMs to date,
Yeah. Same.
and
Same.
you're always looking for the solution, but it's the implementation. So if the implementation's already there, like that's the solution that I would have been looking for in the
That's right.
past. So I love that because it was, and then you need the community on the other side. The community aspect of it is amazing because now you're not. I remember searching Bigger Pockets forums and Tube University and trying to search for answers that I wanted on the spot, but I couldn't necessarily get. So I feel like the community thing, and maybe not because I'm ignorant to it in the past, but I feel like this community structure is a fairly new thing. Am I wrong about that? In the way that it's
It's
designed.
not new to me. Admittedly, I stole the idea and I built on it. You know, from the very beginning, my first program that I ever signed up for, $35,000, was called Fortune Builders Mastery. You know, every single program, like I took so many good things from Fortune Builders. I got so many good ideas from Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Coaching. We did Grant Cardone, you know, Cardone University. We went through all of these programs, and um, I keep a tally. I think I'm on 57 right now. Over the last almost
Oh wow.
11 years of investing, I've signed up for 57 courses and programs and apprenticeships and such. And each one of them, they had things that they did really good. And I've made a note, not just a mental note, but a physical note on each one of them. And many of them have nailed the community. Fortune Builders nailed the community, and several others. They were probably just the most notable.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not new. We've been building on it, really kind of riding on the coattails of people who have created a way bigger company than we have so far, that we've just been able to say like, "Hey, these are really good systems, processes that we're going to follow."
And that's what it's all about, right? Taking the ones that work and the ones that don't and pooling it together and really shortening the learning curve for the person that you're passing this on to.
Exactly. I mean, I practice what I preach. When I'm
Yeah.
paying somebody else to shorten that learning curve, similarly, I'm offering to shorten other people's learning curve for a fraction of the cost that they're going to go out and do it themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Say, I mean, that's what ultimately got me into the coaching space because I kept finding myself reinserting myself into the business and the thing that I was good at or loved, which was the sales side of it. And that's why I got into that.
Yeah.
Everything else, the way you were describing it before, was me. That was my life. I hated everything that surrounded what I was doing. And then when I just removed that piece of it and only focused on that, then I got my joy back because honestly, being in every aspect of the business was bringing me down.
Yep.
Even though we were good at it and we were making pretty good money, I just didn't love it. And you have to love it.
Peace of mind is way more important than making a lot of money. And frankly, if you can get people who are better than you at that thing, and it is energizing to them rather than draining their energy, you're going to end up making more money anyway and have more time with greater
Right.
peace of mind.
Actually, I usually say this till the end, but this is a perfect spot for this question. I ask a version of this question to everybody. What is something that somebody that's either getting into the business new or somebody that's coming to you for help has to bring to the table that you cannot provide for them. No coaching program can provide it for them. No education course. That's something that they need to bring themselves.
Yeah, that's gonna be really easy for me to answer, and I'll go, like, high level and label it as mentality or mindset, and then we can bring that into, like, that's a 30,000-foot view, would be mindset. Then the 10,000-foot view would be, like, character traits of you have some words behind you that I like, and maybe that's priming me, like, subconsciously.
Yeah.
But, like, resilience would be one of them, being able to get knocked down and come back. Tenacity. Another one would be, like, curiosity. You can't be thinking, like, "I know it all." We have to be constantly learning from others. But then bringing it down to, like, super actionable steps, it's kinda like a pillar, not a pillar, this is called a pyramid. One word is probably up here, and that would be mindset. There's probably 3 or 4 character traits that I think are absolutely necessary. No coaching program is gonna provide them. And then there's a lot of daily habits that I could list, but if I could just bring it down to one daily habit that's really actionable, it would be hunger. That's going to encapsulate many of the things that I'm thinking of right now.
No, that's a good one.
You have to be hungry. Nobody's going to give that to you. And if you don't have it, you're going to fail. And I can guarantee that. It's not a matter of if, it's when.
No, I think that's a great answer. Well, hunger mixed with the tenacity and the ability to get up when you're knocked down because you're going to get knocked down more than you get back up again. But I think you learn from that, and I find that some people have a hard time with that.
Yeah. I think that my generation does. I don't really get along with people who are my age in their 20s and 30s. I'm allowed to say this. I'm racist as all get out against America's people. We are fat, lazy, entitled pricks, and I have been to so many other countries and seen how terribly they live. And then when I come home and we have AC and clean running water and electricity in every building, like, my God, we have so much to be thankful for. Yet we waste our lives and we are so weak, especially 20s and 30s. Man, I like about half my team lives in America, about half my team is overseas. And I'm very intentional about who I hire and where they live based off of the job and the requirements
Mhm.
because it's very difficult. I just hired 2 people, and in order to hire 2 people, I had to go through 530 applications.
Wow.
530, and I'm about to fire one of them already, and it's been just over a week. We're on day 8 or 9 today.
This just in, that's breaking news.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I think you're 1,000% spot on. We could go down a rabbit hole that I'll stay away from on this podcast, but actually, yeah, I think you're exactly right. I mean, the younger generations, I talk to my wife about this sometimes. It's just everything's served on a silver platter. They don't wanna work for anything. I've
Oh, I don't
had
get
this
it.
conversation with my daughter, like, when she
Yeah,
wants to go get a I joke and I call her Uncle Eddie, from the National Lampoon's movie because, like, they're all holding out for management positions. They don't wanna work and climb any ladders. Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah, man.
Alright, so let's get back into the subject at hand. So you have your CRM in place. I did notice there was a couple different things on your website that you offer. When when somebody's set up with the CRM, obviously that's part of your package, right? They get the CRM, they get the lead generation. What when you get into the coaching part of it, is it is it specifically coaching to the programs and the systems that you have, or is there something what is the value to the coaching? I know what the answer is, I just want you to give it. What's the value to the coaching that they're not getting on the face when they read your website?
There's 2 components actually. So there's 3 pillars. We've already talked about the software, which is pillar number 2. Coaching is pillar number 3, but let's go back really quickly and touch on pillar number 1, which is education. I'm a firm believer that a lot of people, they think that they know what they want, but they're not really clear on their goals. And if I were to ask them what their goals are, most people, number 1, they don't have it written down. And number 2, even if they do have it written down, they haven't fully thought about it and processed it. Because if I was to just bluntly and almost forcefully articulate, all right, so John, you say that you want to make $500,000 net profit this year, take home, like in your family, this is what it's going to take. And you're going to have to give up this and that and that. I want to have 8-pack abs. All right, cool. You're going to have to be in a calorie deficit of 300 calories every single day. You're going to have to go on 2 walks and you're going to have to work out 4 times. And no more Netflix, no more whatever. You're going to have to cut out sugar, refined carbohydrate. No, it's not worth it. I don't want that. I want to live my sedentary lifestyle. People think they know what they want, but they haven't actually thought through and processed the things that they're going to have to do and or not do. And when challenged, they give up on their goal. And so I'm really big on this. I'm really big on clarity of where we're going, because if we don't know where we're going, then we're constantly trying to hit a moving target. Business is already a moving target as legislation changes and as markets changes
Yeah.
and as industries change when it comes to like AI and infrastructure. There's so many things that are already moving. If you yourself are moving, my God, you're never going to get there. And so we have to have clarity on that. And then we also have to be able to reverse engineer. That's where I am. Here's where I am. That's where I want to be. Just like Google Maps. Google Maps only needs two things. It needs a point of origination and it needs a point of destination. And given these 2 points, it can now plan the route of how to get there. So
Right.
that's how I built my education course. There's a course on just the basics of real estate investing. And that's like the foundation, right? Just like how we build a house. First, I think the right word is architect what it's going to look like. Like we draw up the plans, the blueprints. We need to do that for our life. Then we need to build the foundation. Before we start building all the walls and all this stuff, let's build the foundation. And then we build on top of these. So then after I teach the basics, now we teach deal structure. Then we teach like chronological order. Now we need to generate leads. Here's everything you need to know about marketing. Now, once we have the leads, now I need to teach them about sales and negotiation. Now that we have sales and negotiation, we're able to negotiate good deals. We need to be able to analyze those deals, right? So we're building and building and building. Once we once we analyze it, then we need to put it under contract. Once it's under contract, now we need to go from contract to close. And that includes raising private money. And then we have project management, so on and so forth. Then hiring and training team members. So I have 12 different courses. Number 13 is about to come out, but I have 12 different courses teaching about each of these components because I believe that there's 13 pillars, if you will, that you must know in order to be successful as a real estate investor. And I'm very convicted that if you are at least not, I need to write this word down because it constantly escapes me, proficient. If
Mhm.
you're at least not proficient at these things, I can guarantee that you're going to fail. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We just have to wait for a mistake. We have to wait for a market cycle. We have to wait for somebody to take advantage of you. We have to wait for you to slip up in some form or fashion. But if you are not proficient in these things, you're going to die. So let's build the base, if you will, of this business on a strong foundation. It's kind of like the parable of building your house on the sand versus building your house on the rock. Let's build it on a firm foundation. Now let's get into the coaching. So we have the education, then we have the system to apply to execute everything that I just taught you. But even with the education and the system in which to apply it, you're still going to go out there and you and I both know it's kind of like the wild, wild west in the real estate. You know, a seller's going to have some question that you don't know the answer to. They're going to have an objection that you need to overcome. Title is going to have an issue. You're going to have a contractor that's trying to steal your money. You're going to have something that occurs out there that you alone, you've never done it. So how can you be expected in order to come out of this without learning from somebody who's been there before? Wouldn't it be nice if you had somebody that you could turn to that could walk you through, hold your hand and say, "Hey Keith, you know, not only have I done this, not only have I navigated these treacherous waters, but I've actually helped hundreds of other people successfully navigate those waters as
Yes.
well." So that's the need for coaching. And again, I can tell you, just like baking a cake, you and I probably aren't. I've never baked a cake, but my wife has. You need three essential ingredients. You have to have flour, you have to have sugar, and you have to have eggs. If you do not have those three things, your cake's not going to come out right. Like it's going
Right.
to be
Right.
weird. Well, the same thing is true with real estate investing. You have to have the right education, you have to have the right system, and you have to have the right support. And if one of these essential ingredients is missing, you're going to fail. It's
Yeah.
guaranteed.
I love your description there, and I like the fact that we rewound that and went to the education piece first, because I've had this conversation on a level for myself with the sales coaching, is that I specifically coach sales. I don't educate. So most of the people that are coming to me have some level of experience in sales. I would equate it to, obviously this is a blown up analogy, but to like Michael Jordan. He knew how to play basketball, but he still had to coach. Right. So that's where the coaching comes in. But you have to have that base. You have to have that strong foundation, like you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, agreed.
Because without it, how do you know what success looks like? You don't know if you're failing or not if you don't even know what's expected of you in the first place.
And sometimes, so there's two here. I feel qualified to say this. I've coached a little over 1,000 people at this point, and I see two reoccurring themes that hold people back. We hold ourselves back, right? And it's
Yeah.
always tied to two fears that I have seen. It's always the fear of failure, or it's the fear of the unknown. 100% of everything, when I see people get analysis paralysis and they are unable to take action, it's because they're afraid of something bad happening, fear of failure, or they're afraid of, I don't really know what's going to happen. And those are the
Right.
two things that hold them back. So sometimes, a lot of times, you need to have a coach that, number one, will give you permission to do the scary thing that's outside of your current comfort zone. And
Mhm.
number two, will raise the bar, will raise the expectations. I'm a firm believer that humans, it's human nature to rise or fall to the expectations that are set for us by the people that are in our circle of influence, whether that is a father or a mother, or if it's a spouse, or if it's a business partner, or if it's a mentor. Those are the people that have direct, like, it's not correlation, it's causation. Their expectations of us is what sets, it's kind of like the thermostat versus the
Yeah.
thermometer. We're our own thermometer, and we need to become the thermostat where we can regulate and we're constantly increasing. A lot of times we're too lazy for that. And having
You know what I
somebody else do
find?
that is helpful.
You know what I find fascinating about that subject specifically is, I remember, maybe you can relate to this. I remember in the beginning taking phone calls, and it was just my wife and I got into the business together. So it was the two of us. And when we got our first round of phone calls from marketing that we put out, we put postcards out.
Yeah.
I was the one to answer the phone. I didn't have any training at that time. It was, I mean, it was brand new to us. So that first phone call, I remember the person saying, I got a postcard in the mailbox. You said you wanted to buy my house. And I just remember getting like, not the good chills, but I got freaked out. Like my voice was shaking. I was afraid. And I ended up hanging up the phone. It was a horrible phone call. And I looked at my wife and I was like, what the hell is happening right now? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I just ended a 20-year career where I would willingly go into a burning building, no problem.
Yeah.
But I got a phone call from a homeowner who I don't know,
You've
and it
never met
freaked
him.
me out. I was scared.
Yeah.
So the realization there is exactly what you just said. And there's a famous quote, and I'll murder it. I don't get it right, but there was a chief in New York City in the FDNY, and he once said that a garbage man, when he turns the corner and sees a bunch of trash cans, the guys don't start freaking out on the truck. Same as us. Like when we turn the corner and we see fire blowing out of a second floor window, that's what we're there for. That's our job. We expect that. So we don't freak out. The unknown is the scary part. Like I didn't know anything about the business. I didn't know what to expect on the other side of the phone. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I think it was almost scarier if she said, yeah, come to my house. Like, well, oh my God, what am I going to do now? Right. So that freaked me out more than anything I've ever done in the past. So I find that fascinating, but this is, to bridge that, this is where the education part comes in. Like speaking
Yeah.
to somebody that had that experience.
Yeah.
If I was talking to me now, then I'd be like, look, dude, don't worry about it. They have a problem they're coming to you for. You can either solve it or you can't.
That's right.
And if you can't, maybe you can refer them to somebody else, but they're not going to murder you through the phone. Like it's
Yeah.
okay.
One of the things that I've built into our processes to overcome this, again, I have a lot of liberties owning a software development company. It's really pretty cool.
Yeah.
Over the past, we started last year. I don't remember what month, but it was probably Q3 or Q4 of last year. We started building this deal simulator, and this deal simulator kind of is taken from the military's. Uh, it's a page out of the military's book. So if anybody's familiar with like F-18 or F-22s or F-35, those are our fighter jets. that we use right now. In the military, they don't care what your rank is. They don't care if you're a lieutenant or a captain or a major or a lieutenant colonel. They don't care how many years you've been in. They don't care how many flights you've had or what your flight hours. They don't care how many successful missions. They don't give a rat's ass. When you are going to fly that plane, that is a $60 million piece of flying metal that the US government owns that you're not going to crash. So you're going to sit in a simulator and you're going to do 3 touch and goes before you hop foot in that jet. So I love that idea because it takes the risk out, right? Anybody, just in case anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, the most dangerous part of flying a plane is taking off and landing. Once you're up, it's easy. You can literally press a button and the thing flies itself.
Yeah.
It's the landing and it's the takeoff that everybody makes mistakes. So it's called touch and go. They'll have you take off, you do a tight circle, and then and you touch back down. And the moment your wheels touch, instead of slowing the plane down, now you go again and you do that
Okay.
turn and you touch and then you go again. And so it only takes a couple minutes, takes about 15, 20 minutes to run the simulation. You'll see we just had the Blue Angels a couple days ago come up here to Cocoa Beach and I'm getting chills thinking about it. It's fantastic,
Oh, it's
right?
cool. We've seen it up here.
Yeah. Before they actually hop in the jets, every single time they will get in a I still have chills. I have full body chills right now. You'll see them all. You can watch a YouTube video on this. They'll all sit down and they close their eyes and they're in the cockpit and they have all of their things here. And their commander, who's I don't know what his position is. He's not in the front. I know that. I think that he's in the second row. Um, he's the one calling the turns, and you can see them move in unison. You can see them visualize exactly where the buttons are, where they need to be looking, where their wings are. I mean, everything. It's amazing. They're
Yeah, that's amazing.
simulating here. If they accidentally crash in the simulator, nothing bad occurs. The government is not out millions and millions of dollars. So what I've done is I've done the same thing, similar to probably something that you teach when it comes to sales and sales psychology. It's called a risk reversal. Like let me shelve the risk. There's no risk on the table if you do this. We do that in the deal simulator.
Yeah.
And so having people walk a lead through all the way to the point where they can actually talk to me on the phone, AI. It's AI Keith that knows everything that I know. And I'm the lead though. And I played easy on them in the beginning. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
in different simulations, they get harder and they can go to different levels of difficulty. But an avatar that has its own unique situation, age, marital status, job status, condition of the house, location of the house, price point of the house, so on and so forth. We have all these different avatars of sellers that they're talking to, and they collect all the information as they go through the triage call. Then they take all the information, they plug it into the deal analyzer, and we walk them through step by step how to analyze this on every engine strategy. Are we going to use a DSCR loan? Are we going to get a hard money loan? Are we going to use private money? Is it going to be owner financed? Are we taking it subject to? Is it a hybrid of both? What are we going to do with it? On the exit strategy, are we going to wholesale this? Are we going to wholesale it? Are we retail, wrap, rent, novation, lease option? We have all these different entrance strategies and exit strategies. And there's nothing wrong. If you say the wrong thing, nobody's going to think you're stupid.
Yeah. Right.
It doesn't matter if you trip over your words. It's not even an issue if you mess up in the deal analyzer because there's no money on the table. You're not going to lose
That's
out on a deal, and you're not going to hurt a seller by putting them into foreclosure or bankruptcy or any emotional state, whatever marital status. People are getting divorced or pre-foreclosure or anything like this. And so we walk them through, and I think this is really really helpful for people who, the trash truck turns the corner and they see the load of garbage. You and the fire truck turn the corner and you see flames coming out the second. Why are you confident? When you're seeing a flames blowing up, you already know what to do. Why? Because you've trained for that.
You've done it before. Yeah.
We should do that in our own business as well. And that's one of the things that we built in to REI Automated is a simulation from the very beginning of when the lead comes in to the very end. Literally, when you send a purchase, you really do send a purchase and sales agreement, and it goes to your client success manager. It goes to
Okay.
your coach, and they review everything. They review everything from the very first call to how you structure the deal, how you analyze the deal, to how you pitched it, to how you put it into the purchase and sales agreement and sent it over to the lead.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
think
Thanks.
your mentor was right. You need to bring you needed to bring this out to the world. Am I wrong in saying that you're the only person in the space that has something like this?
No,
No.
You're not wrong. Yeah, we're absolutely a unicorn. So again, taking
Okay, yeah.
pillars, there's a lot of people in the education space. They call this the info space, not education, but info is you buying courses. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people in the software space. They call this SaaS, software as a service. There's tons of people that provide lead generation and scripting and deal analysis and CRMs and all that stuff. It's very bloated. And then in the coaching space, there's tons of coaches as well. There's about 300 and something coaches across the United States in the single family sector that live and teach in the United States. There's a couple people who do both of these. They educate and they coach. There's fewer people that do education and software.
Okay.
There's nobody that I know of anyway. There's nobody who has all three pillars in one roof.
And with a system like that, I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, that I was getting excited about it when you were describing how you can go through and go through a complete transaction without actually doing it with the seller first. That's phenomenal. And well, I'm going to wrap this up in a few minutes here, but I wanted to tell a funny story. I know I said that my brain is antiquated, but the whole reason, since you tapped into the AI space, the whole reason we're on this call right now is because I think you got a message from me, right? That was AI driven.
Yes, good.
And I just started playing around with the Claude, what is it called? The Cowork.
Or, yeah. Oh, I love it. I
I
have six
didn't know.
tasks going on right now. Yeah.
I didn't know what this thing could do, but I just started
Ah,
playing
it's
around with the chat and I said,
amazing.
how do I get podcast guests without me doing it myself? And that's the
Yeah.
question I asked. And it said, well, you
Yeah.
can go in Cowork and do this, this, and this.
That's right.
And it literally just went in and researched people in the space. There were a couple of landmarks that it had to hit, I guess,
Yeah.
where the person had to be in the real estate space, had to have a presence online, had to have so many followers, blah, blah, blah. Once it hit that, and it would put it on a spreadsheet and it would go into Facebook on my behalf and send you a DM and say, hey, you want to be on the
Love it.
podcast?
Yeah.
And I got excited about that because then the day I sent that out, there was a couple of tweaks that needed to be made because it wasn't finding real estate investors. It was just
Oh,
finding
okay.
random people. But once I got that down, I think I had like 6 bookings in 2 days. It was crazy, and I didn't do anything. It runs every night at like 9 o'clock.
That's epic. I'm a huge Cowork advocate, and honestly, we use Claude Code. So there's Claude Chat, that's like level 1, then there's
Yeah.
Claude Cowork, that's level 2, then there's Claude Code, that's level 3. We actually have 24 agentic AIs that work for us full time, literally 24/7. They never stop. We have a
Wow.
whole hierarchy built out from the top down, employees and managers and supervisors and consultants and everything. They literally talk to each other. They literally have end of day reports. They have bookend meetings. There's documentation, there's testing, there's research and development. It's a crazy time to live in, but we're so blessed to live in it.
It's life-changing, I tell you. Like, I'm on in your levels, I'm on level 2. I didn't even tap into the code yet.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
once I do, I mean, maybe that's what I'm doing next.
It's amazing. Amazing.
So, all right. Well, thank you for being on the boardroom. Tell us where people can find you at REI Automated.
And the easiest way to find me personally is going to be Facebook, Keith Gillespie. Gillespie spelled a little bit weird. It's Gillispie. People want to put an E there, Gillispie. And then our website is reiautomated.io. And that's going to show you all the things that we have at REI Automated. If you wanted to get specific into the deal base, which is our CRM, a lot of the things that I've talked about is there. Then that's www.reiautomated.io/deal base.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for being on.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity, Chris. Appreciate you.